this guy's life might be danger over here because people think that he has something to do with Pac. People think he has something to do with Biggie, and they right here in Brooklyn. You understand? It's right here in Brooklyn, and some of the people are still mad that he made Making of the Band walk to Brooklyn from, to get the cheesecake, and just around the corner from the Cheesecake Factory. So, Junior's. So it might be some dumb shit. So y'all need to get him out of here and ship him to Jersey because somebody gonna kill him over here. Those are good arguments, if you want to call it, but it's bullshit. He gonna get the same treatment no matter how much money he got.
Now, it was this documentary that claimed, which we know wasn't true.
Yeah, check this out. We don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So we're not even going to go there, with all due respect, but I appreciate you as a journalist asking. Thank you.
Because listen, 7 years ago, I'd have been like, yo, did you hire somebody to fuck? But no, you have to do it like a journalist.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't even get into nonsense like that. You know what I'm saying? It's nonsense.
Which we never believed, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
50 Cent just dropped some crazy new footage showing Diddy looking straight up terrified behind bars, and the internet can't stop talking about it. People had been saying Diddy was living large in prison, sipping wine and teaching business lessons like some kind of boss, but now it's looking like things have taken a dark turn. Word on the street is that some people are out to get him. And shockingly, it might be connected to Tupac's crew. For years, the tragic deaths of Tupac Shakur and Christopher the Notorious B.I.G. Wallace have haunted hip-hop like an open wound that never healed. And through all of it, Diddy has always denied having anything to do with either one. But this new prison footage has fans whispering and wondering if there's more to the story than we were told.
He was involved in the shooting.
Only they can answer that question. I have my own opinion, but I wouldn't slander their name like they did mine. I wouldn't say things that I knew, you know what I mean? I believe so. I do believe so. I have proved things that I could say that will back up my claim, but this is not for the world to know about. You know what I mean? It's between me and him, and only he knows. So every time he say it didn't happen, or that's the only thing that makes this become an issue to everybody. Because you seen what I said in the Vibe article. I basically bowed out. It was gonna go ahead about my life. The next issue, that wasn't even the next issue because them cowards waited about 4 issues before they got their story together. 4 issues later, half of New Yorkers commenting on me getting shot. And before, they was all like, we didn't see nothing. In the first issue, we did, Vibe viewers. Nobody seen shit. The 4th issue, when they came back with a reply, everybody knew what I did. They knew what I said. I was acting. Who gets shot 5 times in acts? Oh, I didn't get shot 5 times in their vision. I only got shot once because they found the bullet. The police found it, but now they the cops. Now they doing detective work. They found the bullet. Oh, you found the bullet, huh? So what is this other shit in me then? What was the doctors talking about? What? Can you explain these other holes in me? How'd I get gunpowder all over me? That insulted my intelligence. So yes, I did say Thug Life was there. Yes, I bowed out, all of that. But when they said that, they breathed new life.
Tupac was gunned down in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas on September 7th, 1996. He fought hard for 6 long days before passing away at just 25. Then only 6 months later, Biggie met the same fate in Los Angeles on March 9th, 1997. Another drive-by that shook the world. 2 rap legends gone back to back, and the industry was split in 2. It wasn't just about music anymore, it was pride, loyalty, and a war between coasts that ran deep.
In the interim of being there to spy on Big, Jimmy Henchman told him that they finna teach Pac a lesson. Cause Pac had owed him some money. So that's why he was up in the studio and was coming to the studio. Pac owed him some money. He was gonna work it off and get some money from doing a song with Lil Sean. And that's what that was about. But Pac was talking greasy to Jimmy Henchman, and Jimmy Henchman wasn't the type of dude that you talk greasy to, allegedly. Unless you're 50 Cent.
So Diddy knew what was gonna happen to Pac.
He knew Pac was about to deal well, yeah. He was there to see it. He was there to see it. He wasn't only that to see Big them. When Jimmy Henchman told him that, he was there to see what's going to happen to Pac. He was there for that. Because had he not been there for that, he would have went up there in the office. He would have went to the studio or the studio session with Big Nim. He would have went to that studio session with Big Nim. He knew what room Big Nim was in. He didn't do that. He was there to see what was going to happen to Pop after Jimmy told him. And that's factual.
Diddy, being Biggie's close friend, producer, and the powerhouse behind Bad Boy Records, stood tall for the East Coast. But now with this shocking footage, people are starting to ask, is the past finally catching up with him? As time went on, Diddy's name just wouldn't stop coming up whenever people talked about the murders of Tupac and Biggie.
Yeah, Kirk Burroughs, he also said that, he feels like, Diddy was behind Pac murder.
Yeah. If Diddy played a part in that stuff, like he said, Kirk know where the money came from. I'ma say this. They tried to, if you talk about the Vegas trip and the whole 9 yards, Kirk said that he paid for people to drive out to Vegas. You know what I'm saying? He said he paid for people to drive out of Vegas. I was heavily with Bad Boy at that time. I don't remember that part of it. You understand? I don't remember that part of it. But if Kirk knew and he was paying for people to drive out to Vegas in the whole 9 yards, it's hard to hide $1 million, brother. You ain't going to cash that in the check cashing place. You signing that over to somebody. I said 1,000 times, and I'll say it 1,000 times again. Eric Von Zip showed me and my man Boom Dang, AKA my man Slick, a check for $1 million. We don't know, and everybody trying to say, lying, talking about half of it got paid, 500. I don't know. I know when I asked him about, we asked him, do we ask? No, we didn't ask him. I know when he showed us a check and he walked away after he showed us the check for the $1 million, you understand?
Then came the Netflix docuseries Sean Combs, The Reckoning, which dropped on December 2nd, and it completely reignited the drama. The series had several people straight up claiming that Diddy might have played a part in both deaths. One shocking moment came when Bad Boy co-founder Kirk Burroughs said in the documentary, "I think that Sean had a lot to do with the death of Tupac, and he ushered Biggie to his death." That statement alone blew everyone's minds.
Diddy's claim was an informant in 1997 who told investigators that Puffy had hired the Southside Crips to kill both Suge and Tupac, and that the Crip who was jumped at the MGM was in the group that had done the hit, and that they originally were going to do it at Suge's Vegas nightclub, but then decided to do it right away instead of waiting. This was exactly the same story that Keefe D told us a decade later. Very few people know that immediately after Tupac is shot and that white Cadillac is fleeing, one of the death row entourage, a guy named Alton McDonald, known as Buntree, chases after the Cadillac, and a second shooting takes place between the two vehicles. Alton McDonald's car is struck. In fact, within the Las Vegas files, there's a document that indicates that Alton McDonald's car had been struck by a bullet that night.
The show painted a picture of deep tension between Diddy and Tupac, and it didn't just appear out of nowhere. In the early days, they were both moving through the same music circles, chasing fame and building legacies. But everything changed on the night of November 30th, 1994. Tupac had gone to Quad Studios in New York City to lay down a verse for Diddy's artist, Lil Sean. Instead, chaos broke out. Tupac was ambushed, robbed, and shot 5 times in the lobby. He somehow survived, but the scars, both physical and emotional, never left him. From that night forward, his trust in Diddy and Biggie was completely shattered, and when Vibe magazine interviewed him in 1996, the interviewer didn't hold back. They asked Tupac point blank if he believed Diddy had been involved.
He even said that, like, in retrospect, that was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to Puffy. By Zip stealing the money, now Puffy isn't connected to that shit. Or else it would have been like a hire or something, you know what I'm saying?
The FBI said it was just Zip.
So the FBI told you the
They said he
same
was a
thing?
dirty motherfucker.
So the FBI told you that Zip kept that money as well?
They said Zip's a dirty motherfucker. Everybody crossed you. You're the last one to know every fucking thing. Even lawyers, your friends, everybody can cross your ass.
The Quad Studio shooting still sits unsolved, but former bad boy bodyguard Gene Deal has dropped a wild claim, saying Diddy already knew Tupac was going to be shot and didn't stop it. Gene says the recent 50 Cent documentary mentioned the event but left out one explosive detail. According to him, on that exact day, Diddy, Andre Harrell, and Jimmy Henchman were all together inside Jimmy's office, and Biggie and Suge Knight had no clue what was about to go down. Gene insists Diddy didn't just happen to be there, but he was there for a reason.
I seen an interview that Puffy did with Fat Joe where he was talking about Biggie in his last moments in LA, and he told Fat Joe that he didn't want to go to LA, he actually wanted to go to London. But Biggie, he was the one that wanted to go to LA, and he was the one that was pushing to go to LA.
That's not true. My name is Kirk Burroughs. I ran Bad Boy Entertainment. I helped co-found it. I created the company with him. I raised from general manager to president. And at that time, I put all of those business plans together. And Biggie didn't want to go to LA, ended up going. What got him out there was a week ahead of time to ease him into the whole award show. He may not have wanted to go to London, but was talked into it. First time ever, a rapper of your stature getting this treatment, that would be something he would be interested in doing, but he was easily talked out of it by Sean so that they can make an appearance at an event in LA that Saturday night, a part of the posturing of not only did we come to the award show, not only am I recording my album out here, and Big is gonna help me with some of the writing and maybe do something out here where me and him did this song in LA. I'm out on the town. And it was just too much.
Gene claims Diddy was keeping tabs on Biggie because at that time, Diddy had full control over Biggie's publishing rights. Biggie was busy writing new songs and Diddy wanted to know exactly what was being created. That's why Gene says Diddy was in that building, not to work, but to watch. And then things get darker. Gene says that while they were there, Jimmy Henchman supposedly told Diddy that Tupac was going to be taught a lesson over some money Tupac allegedly owed. That moment, Gene says, changed everything. He also points out that this story lines up with what Kirk Burrow revealed, that Diddy might have been pulling strings from behind the scenes. And if the issue was really about money, Gene believes Kirk would be the one to know where it came from.
They wasn't going out to no party, no clubs, and no hip-hop scene. They wasn't doing none of that, brother. But that one particular night they go out, and it was because of Puff and D-Rock. Clark Kent said that shit himself. I've been saying it for years, but everybody was saying, I'm capping. Nah. What do you call Clark Kent? Is he capping? He's a vice president of a record company. You understand what I'm saying? He was DJing for Big. Is he capping? All these people should smack themselves, brother. Because what happened is, when people hear the truth, they can't believe it. Why? They can't understand it. But it happened. We couldn't have done nothing because it was no we. It was no we out there. Big had a security, Paul Alford, Reggie Bullock. Puff had me and Kenny. We was down 6 to 8 other men. And it's 23 people in the entourage. And none of them got no guns. You don't go Cali empty-handed. we couldn't have done nothing, man.
The layers of this story keep getting thicker, and people can't believe how deep this all runs. Most of the people tied to these dark events are gone now, but the money, that's the part that never disappears. Paper trails don't die, and if the truth ever comes out, Gene Deal believes the evidence is sitting right there in the records, in checks, payments, and hidden transactions that can still be traced. Almost 2 years after the Quad Studios shooting, tragedy struck again at the Las Vegas drive-by that ended Tupac's life. For decades, that case stayed cold, fueling endless rumors, whispers, and wild theories across hip-hop. People never stopped asking who really ordered it, and every few years, a new clue would shake the culture all over again. Then in September 2023, things took a shocking turn. Dwayne Keefe D. Davis was arrested and charged with murder. Prosecutors said he played a major role in Tupac's killing, and suddenly the case everyone thought was buried came roaring back to life. But in July 2024, a bombshell court filing dropped, revealing a previously undisclosed 2009 police interview. In that interview, Davis allegedly admitted to being involved in the attack and claimed that Diddy was the one who ordered the hit. The revelation sent shockwaves through the industry, leaving everyone wondering if the truth about Tupac's death had been hiding in plain sight all along.
People still want to know about him. They should have had better security. I asked them before we gonna go out? Let's hire some more security. They refused to hire more security. Kirk Burrows said the same thing. They ain't have it in the budget. Not without Big, they don't have no budget. How about that?
After that 2009 police interview came to light, the hip-hop world went into total chaos. Everyone started talking. Fans, artists, reporters, nobody could stay quiet. The streets were buzzing with one question: did Diddy really have something to do with Tupac's death? The accusation sent shockwaves across social media, and old videos of Diddy and Tupac started trending again like it was the 90s all over. Reporters began digging deeper, pulling up old interviews and clips that suddenly looked way more suspicious than they did before. People noticed how Diddy always seemed nervous when Tupac's name came up, and some started connecting dots that might have been overlooked for years. It was like the entire culture hit rewind, searching for the truth that had been hiding behind fame and money. Meanwhile, Diddy's legal team jumped into action, shutting down the claims and calling them lies and old street gossip.
My perceptions have changed slightly, gradually over time. Today, I look at Diddy through a different lens than I might have 10, 15 years ago. There were obviously some early red flags, but it's a complicated thing because we have to be very careful about falsely accusing people or even, making accusations based on nothing more than speculation. And we just haven't seen all the evidence. So I prefer to kind of withhold judgment on some things. I can tell you regarding Diddy back when Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls were murdered. He wasn't exactly cooperative. He didn't do what you would assume a friend or a manager, so to speak, would do. So from a law enforcement perspective, he was very unhelpful in an area where he ought to have been contributing towards getting some type of justice in those two murder cases. But as we found out in time, he was complicit in one of them, and which would make sense why maybe he didn't cooperate in the other, because the two were, they were just, we always understood that they were somehow interconnected. And so if you're going to cooperate or provide information on one and you're culpable in the other, one thing could lead back to the next. And that's where I think he understood his own vulnerability.
They insisted there's no solid evidence linking Diddy to any of it, but the court filings kept surfacing and fans were demanding answers louder than ever. And guess who made sure nobody forgot about it? 50 Cent. He jumped online, posting the leaked clips and throwing heavy shade at Diddy. His captions were wild, full of jokes and sly comments that had everyone talking. It's like 50 took the whole scandal and turned it into a show, and once again Diddy found himself in the middle of the storm, this time with nowhere to hide. According to Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, Diddy was fuming over Tupac's nonstop insults and public shots. It didn't stop there. A joint DEA and US Department of Justice report even referenced a 2008 interview where Davis allegedly claimed that Diddy said he needed to get rid of Marion Suge, Knight, and Shakur, and that he supposedly offered a $1 million payout to make it happen. That claim had everyone's jaws on the floor, and of course Diddy has denied every bit of it.
Coming in, he was friendly with Big, he saw Little Sean, people like that. They wanted him to come and do a record. That was what was set up at Quad. Biggie, knowing Little Sean, they were all there, C's, all of them. It was just gonna be a fun night at the studio. Pac showed up, he saw them looking down from the window. His new friends were there. An incident happened in the elevator. It might have been a scary thing, like just to send a message. Tupac standing his own ground, just didn't leave it at that. He ended up getting hit, getting shot. The elevator went up. Our people were shocked to see him in that state. He was shocked to see our people looking at him shot. He thought that they knew something about it. He thought if he was in New York and he was with all the rappers from the East, they must have known what was going to happen. It had to be in the wind, and situations aren't laid out like that. And it was the furthest thing from the truth, but he held that to his heart. And then he went away. A few other things happened, got better, got repaired, went away, went to jail on the rape charge. Once that came down on him, it looked as if the East Coast must have been the worst thing and the worst place for him to have come to. And it looked as if the friends that he had just turned their backs on him. Suge stepped in. Suge stepped in. And when Suge stepped in, he signed him. He signed him to a napkin at Clinton. And that letter that he sent through Wendy Day, she was definitely a person that was connected and a mediator between most everyone in the hip hop game and had been for a minute, legendary person. She delivered the letter to my office. It started with West Side Up. So it gave an indication of rumblings that we heard in the street with him being shined by Suge was definitely true. He's going to go west when he comes back, and he has an issue with us.
In July 2024, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department publicly stated that Sean Combs has never been considered a suspect in Tupac Shakur's murder investigation. He's never been charged, and so far, no evidence has officially tied him to the shooting. Meanwhile, Davis has pleaded not guilty and remains behind bars as his trial faces repeated delays, but the tension surrounding the case hasn't cooled one bit. Even after Tupac's death, the streets were still dangerous. Sources close to the situation said Diddy and his East Coast crew were warned to stay off the West Coast where emotions were still running high, but Diddy pushed forward anyway, determined to promote Biggie's upcoming album. Biggie didn't want to go, but according to Kirk Burroughs' claims and Sean Combs' The Reckoning, Sean talked him into it. A decision that would change hip-hop forever. Gene Deal backed up this part of the story too, saying that
a woman by the name of Wendy Day, very important woman in the hip-hop world. I think she helped Baby and those guys with Cash Money label, setting that up. She's very influential and instrumental in a lot of success. When I started in the music business, I reached out to her. She had a company called Rap Coalition. She went back and helped rappers from a previous generation get their money straight, their royalties. With that being said, I was like, she's someone I want to know. In knowing her, I had the good fortune of when she was dealing with Tupac during his crises on the East Coast, she went to visit him at Clinton. He wrote a letter, drafted it, so that she can bring it to me at the office so that I could know and be able to relate to Sean where we were with him. And the letter, if I remember, it said, West Side Up. And what we had heard was rumblings that Suge came and signed him on a napkin to a contract, and he was going to go west, and all the stuff that happened to him on the East, it made it look like people on the East, the king or the biggest rappers on the East, or people that he knew should have warned him or protected him against what had happened. And it just is not geographically laid out like that. And a lot of people caught some blame for things that they had nothing to do with. And he took offense, went west, and that started him as a mouthpiece against the East, all right, going at Biggie. And I think it's more than, that's one level of the beef. Then I think there's another level of things that were going on in the streets where things happened in the dividing line between East and West that caused a big rift that led to mouthpieces going at each other.
Even people close to Biggie were confused about why he was out that night. He revealed that Clark Kent, a producer and longtime friend of Biggie who was deep in the industry, once admitted that he questioned the whole situation. Clark said Biggie was supposed to be traveling, not out at a flashy event. When Clark asked why they were heading to the Peterson Automotive Museum, Biggie told him straight up that the whole thing was set up by Puffy and someone else. According to Gene, he didn't even know about the detail until Clark Kent mentioned it publicly years later, and that revelation still haunts him. What hits Gene the hardest is remembering how he begged for more security that night. He says he pushed the issue again and again, but Diddy shut it down, saying there wasn't enough money for extra protection. That decision, Gene believes, might have changed everything.
I heard a comment you made about how when you would bring up Pac name around Diddy, he'll get mad.
Yes. He hated every bit of it. I remember one time, he was like, who did you grow up listening to? I'm like, Tupac. I ain't mentioned Biggie. That nigga ain't even talk to me for like 4 fucking days after that. Everything with Pac, like, you couldn't say Pac was anything better than Biggie. You can't put them in the same realm or nothing. It was all about Biggie. Nigga, I ain't know no fucking, it was all a dream whole song. I knew a couple words, the first verse maybe, but he made us recite the whole fucking thing. I guess, I don't know. He made us recite that whole fucking thing. And I don't think that Biggie would have gave a if a nigga would have killed about reciting his whole shit. You dig? Like, cause I grew up listening to Biggie too, and I just felt Pac different.
Later in the Sean Combs' The Reckoning docuseries, former LAPD detective Greg Kading even added his own explosive claim, saying he believes Diddy didn't help the investigation at all, but actually made it harder. That statement left viewers stunned, wondering just how much more of this story has been buried over the years. As the docuseries gained traction, fans and insiders began connecting dots that had been ignored for decades. Online forums, podcasts, and social media pages exploded with fresh theories. Everyone wanted to know what really went down between Diddy, Biggie, and Tupac. The narrative was shifting fast, and even people who had defended Diddy for years started questioning if there was more truth hiding behind the rumors than anyone wanted to admit. Behind the scenes, the tension only got heavier. Diddy was facing mounting pressure, not just from the resurfaced allegations, but from the public's demand for transparency. Every clip, every quote, every photo from back in the day was being re-examined like evidence in a courtroom. It felt like the entire hip-hop world had turned into detectives overnight.
Keith D situation, I think the real reason why they ain't gonna let Puffy out is because they trying to connect that Keith D situation with Puffy. That's what I really think it is. Because if it came down to some significant foolishness and all that, there are buku chumped up charges they couldn't prove, I don't think they got no evidence. I think they trying to keep him in there to lock in that Keith D. You heard me? That Keith D situation with Puff. I think that's the only reason why he's still in jail right now. They know Puff is not a dangerous person on the outside. They know if they let him out right now, he's gonna be on house arrest. He's gonna be a good boy. He around and do all church little videos and whatever. They know that already. That's not what they aiming for. They don't care about none of that. What they care about is they trying to connect Keith D with Biggie. I mean, with Tupac and Diddy. I'm telling you, that's what I feel. I never thought I would have said that, but I'm an intelligent man, bruh. And ain't no other way they gonna keep you in there of, Diddy did this to me. Oh, Diddy did that to me. I'm suing him. Oh, we got enough evidence to. No, you don't. That's accusations. That's not factual, brother. You dig? So I feel like the factual thing that they really trying to aim for is the Keith D. That's the only thing that they can really lock him in with. All the rest of that shit gonna get chumped down when it come down to it. Diddy gonna plea, and that shit gonna be over with. What they going? That rabbit in the hole is gonna be that Keith D situation. I'm telling you, mark my words. Watch. That's why they ain't gonna let him out. They would have let Keith D out on that bail. Vegas got a little thing. They'll let you out on bail, but they got little little restrictions of how you can get out. You dig? So they're gonna make sure your ass can't get out of jail. Trust me. So that's the only way I see that. Because the feds play a different game.
Meanwhile, 50 Cent kept stirring the pot, dropping cryptic posts and clips that fueled the frenzy even more. His followers were eating it up, and each time he posted, it sent Diddy's name trending again. Some called it trolling, others called it justice. But either way, 50 was determined to keep the spotlight on every shady rumor linked to Diddy. Through it all, one thing became clear. The past wasn't staying buried anymore. Old secrets were crawling back into the light, and Diddy's empire, once untouchable, was starting to crack under the weight of history, gossip, and suspicion. Witnesses from that night said Biggie's shooter was a black man dressed sharp, wearing a blue tuxedo and a bow tie. But despite countless interviews, investigations, and leads, no one has ever been arrested or charged in connection with his death. Decades later, both murders, Tupac's and Biggie's, remain officially unsolved, and Diddy still walks free of any charges. But that might not last forever, because new connections keep popping up that point straight back to his alleged link in Tupac's murder. Kirk Burrow, who was there through it all, says the tension had already been building long before Tupac ever stepped foot in Quad Studios. Trust was thin, egos were through the roof, and behind the smiles and handshakes, the industry was full of silent rivalries ready to explode. Burrow says that when Tupac got robbed and shot inside that building, the fallout was instant and brutal. From that day forward, nothing between the East and West Coast camps would ever be the same again.
We need people to put people out here that's doing shit like this, that's taking from people's families, that's beating women, that's drugging women. I ain't got a problem with it. Let's go to war. Bruh, first of all, they're gonna try to get his baby mama stories. You know, they're gonna try to get 50 baby mama stories. They're gonna try to get girls that he probably dated, that he had problems and issues with and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna try to do the same thing they probably did to R. Kelly or Puff or whatever like that, and people tell their stories. You understand? But, you know, they trying to retaliate on what he did. Let him go ahead, bruh. Because I think he ready for it. You don't do this shit, and you don't do the stuff that he did or sign on to the stuff that he did with Puff. Unless you got your shit in order. Don't throw no stone if you live in a glass house. Don't throw no stone if you live in a glass house. I believe 50 ready for it. If they come at him any kind of way. I heard that Diddy is trying to sue Netflix for $1 billion. Ain't nothing came up in court. That's just talk, bro. No paperwork has been put in and signed into that. They're gonna have to have a reason. If they were suing him and he had enough reason, why they didn't cease and desist the thing? Huh? If he had a leg to stand on, why they didn't cease and desist the documentary? That's just people talking. Headline news. Because had it been filed in court and they had a leg to stand on, they'd have been bringing that stuff down. Oh, we can't show it no more.
According to Burrow, Tupac even sent him a chilling letter trying to come out of a message that made it crystal clear the situation had gone way beyond music. Tupac believed it was full-blown war between him, Puffy, and Biggie. There was no guessing, no reading between the lines. Tupac's words were cold, direct, and final. In his mind, what went down at Quad Studios didn't just spark a feud, it changed hip-hop forever. From Kirk Burrow's point of view, that moment at Quad Studios wasn't just another industry beef. It was the spark that ignited a full-on war. He says it marked the real beginning of the feud that spiraled way out of control, long before the bloodshed that would shake the world. What started as pride and competition turned into something darker, something that nobody could stop once it caught fire. But then there's Chopper, and he's not holding back. He's convinced that Diddy was absolutely behind Tupac's death, claiming that the hatred Diddy had for Pac wasn't about music or ego, it was personal. Chopper said, Diddy hated Tupac, no matter how that sounds. And only later he claims Diddy realized just how deep that hate ran. those words still echo heavy through hip-hop circles today. Now rumor has it that 50 Cent's been leaking all this shocking footage to sites like TMZ and every major outlet he can find. And if Gene Deal's claims are true, Diddy isn't just sitting back, like he's planning to strike back in his own way. So what do you think? Will Diddy ever be convicted for Tupac's murder, or will the truth stay buried forever? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, share this with your crew, and don't forget to subscribe. Like, we've got way more coming your way. See you on the next one.